Hello and welcome to another episode of the ReUp. My name is Jason Delgado. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the ReUp. Every week, or sort of every week, I kind of go through the adventures of being a stand-up comic out here in LA, trying to go from the day job of mediocrity into the dream job of worldwide acclaim and happiness. Trying to be a stand-up comic out here, and these are kind of the adventures therein. It's been a little bit of a rough week this week. We're going to try to stay positive, keep it light. But just a couple crazy things that happened. I know that there's a couple comedians who passed this week, and that's a very, very sad thing to see. I didn't know any of them personally. I'd seen one of them at a mic a couple of times, and, it's one of those crazy things, it makes you cherish life, cherish what you have. And take every day to the max, do the most you can with each day to try and, make the most out of this life. Because, you never know, tomorrow's anybody's game, but we do our best. And so it's good to kind of, see that the community came together and they're sort of, honoring this comic who passed. And, it was two comics actually who passed this week. And it's just crazy, to kind of like go through, with a community of people that are sort of tight-knit like LA comics, even though everybody's kind of secular and into their own thing and maybe even out for their own sort of agenda. There is something of a camaraderie I find in the LA comic scene where people come together, try to help each other out. And in the passing of a couple comedians, it was sad, but kind of good to see how people came together and kind of cared. People actually cared about what happened. And so it was that was a little bit of a tragic thing, but we press on, we do our best, we keep every day as a blessing and try to make the most of it. But it's difficult to do when you can't leave your house. I am currently stuck in my apartment, unable to leave. Well, I can leave my apartment, but not very far. I'll explain. This week was fun. I did a couple shows out in East LA. I did a cool podcast with some fellow comedians, artists, DJs, rappers. You can see that on the B-Side Forum. Shout out to Young Baka for putting that together. And it was really cool to discuss, what kind of drives us and what we want to do and why we want to do it. And one of the things that kind of came up in the conversation is that it sort of chooses you. This idea that I want to be a stand-up comic because I feel like I enjoy it and I'm, feel like I can be good at it. But the idea that I made a conscious choice, I don't think is true. I think it's sort of something that befalls you. It's like this sort of thing. The point I brought up was that we're all born with different fingerprints. 70 million people alive, 70 million people dead. Nobody has the same fingerprints as you. And so there is something unique and oddly sort of particular about everyone in this world. And that particularness is also something that stems into what you do, what you want to be, what you want to aspire towards. And so much of that is just befallen, I feel like. It's just something that, you decide to a degree that you want to follow it. But a lot of times it just chooses you. And then you just got to follow through with that thing and kind of see where it takes you. So it was good to kind of see that, it happens with, DJs, rappers, anybody who's an artist. Like one of the points I made was that I would love to be the number one economist in the world or the number one, mathematician or accountant, as something that would actually make money immediately. But that's just not my fingerprints, I got into the comedy thing, the silly voices and the faces. And so I feel like I have to sort of follow that path towards the end. And it was nice to see that is kind of how a lot of different art people feel. You know what I mean? No matter what it is that you're trying to do, it's something that you feel like you almost have to do it. And so that was a really, really fun and interesting conversation. You should check out the B-Side Forum podcast on YouTube. Just do a search for B-Side Forum and you will find it. And then I did a show out in East Los Angeles. I was kind of tired that night, but, I had taken a nap, as you have to when you want to be working late nights at my age. And so I took a nice nap, got up, went out to the show. And it was a really cool show, it was outdoors, there was all different types of people, man. There was I think there was maybe some gang members there too. And there was, comics and just regular bar patrons, and it was East LA to the fullest, man, the full smorgasbord of East LA. And so it was a nice packed house, and it was cool to do the silly voices and the comedy and to see how, it sort of translates to different groups of people. Just because, sometimes I feel like, I don't know if people are going to laugh at some of this stupid stuff, you know what I mean? But as it turns out, it worked out. I think one of the important things for me that I notice is authenticity. It's like you gotta, just kind of be in your moment, be in your zone, but be authentic about what you're doing. Even if it's silly or even if you don't feel like it may translate to certain groups of people. If you believe it, that authenticity translates, and then the funny translates. And so it was a nice lesson to kind of stay the course, do your thing. And, if you do your thing with authenticity and sort of, truth, the rest sort of follows. You know what I mean? Take care of the little things, the big things take care of themselves. And so it was a great show. Had a lot of fun. Met a couple of fellow comedians too. And it was great. It was a really, really good time. However, on the way back, tragedy struck. So I'm getting myself home. Thank goodness everything is safe. I open up the gate to my apartment, elevator. I hit the button, the elevator door opens up immediately. I go, for some reason, I took the keys out, put the keys back in my hoodie. And the hoodie has a very shallow pocket. The new film. But yeah, it's always something where stuff always falls out of that pocket. I just didn't think about it. I was in the zone. I was happy that people were laughing at the jokes, and I didn't expect it to go as well as it did, and it really went well. Things seemed to be going really good. I was kind of feeling myself, and the police are here to stop the podcast now. But the feeling was good. Everything was going really well. And I was kind of on a bit of a, wow, I'm so happy that things went so great. And I reached back into my pocket to pull out my keys, and they slipped a la Michael Jordan 3-point shot right in to the slit of the elevator. Like a miracle. And down the elevator shaft they went, never to be seen again. Now, this is 12:30 at night. I don't know how I'm even going to get into my apartment. All the keys to the car, keys to the apartment, keys to the mailbox, clicker to the garage, gone in a flash in the elevator shaft. It was a nightmare, actually. And I was like beyond myself. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. I don't know what's going on. Why would this happen to me? And it was like from going from a total high to just a total Debbie Downer. I was just sunk. Had to pay $100 for a locksmith to come out. Then the next day I'm stuck in my apartment. I had to pay another $100 to get a new key. But the car keys, gone. Call up the car key people. They go, yeah. To come out, it's this much. To get the key, it's this much. Circa a la $300 for a new set of car keys. And so now I am waiting until those car keys are available to me. But super tragic. Couldn't believe it. And it was one of those moments where it's kind of like, I definitely got into the why me. Like, why would you do this, universe? Why would you put me on such a high and then take me down to such a low? And it was a pity party, man. It was a pity party for sure. And I was just like shocked and saddened and upset. And one of the craziest things was that the locksmith that they called, the guy didn't speak English. He only spoke Spanish. And so the security guy's like, I don't speak Spanish. He looked at me, he was like, do you speak Spanish? I was like, I speak Spanish. And so if I didn't speak Spanish, I would probably still be in the hallway unable to get into my apartment. But thank the maker that my Puerto Riqueño came through. And I was able to speak to the man. He checked everything and got me into my apartment that night. So yeah, shout out to knowing Spanish. So finally, I get my key the next day, but the car keys, I'm just stuck. I have no car, no transportation, no way of getting to any shows, any mics, anything. I'm just stuck here, at least until Friday. And so it's Debbie Downer, man. It's super Debbie Downer. And it was one of those moments where I really had to sort of confer within myself and just realize, to be honest with you, I believe in, the overarching plan. I think things happen for a reason. I think that there are, scenarios and things that sometimes happen so out of the blue that I believe that they're somehow connected to something. And so I defaulted to that and I said, hey, God's plan, bro. You do the best you can, and if a scenario happens, you deal with the scenario. It was just so out of the blue that I just couldn't believe it. It was very, very sad for me. But I also realized that, hey, who knows? Maybe if I had those keys and went and gone somewhere, something would have happened, or who knows. But we do our best to sort of understand and carry on. But the problem being, this happens on Saturday. I'm supposed to go to Lancaster on Monday for a show. Lancaster's about an hour and a half from Los Angeles. And I was super excited for the show, and now I'm like, what am I going to do? And thank goodness, fellow comedian, shout out to Erin Tracy. She was kind enough to give me a ride to and from the show. She was on the show as well. And she lives in Glendale. Blah, blah, blah. And so I had to take the bus to Glendale to meet her. And then she gave me a ride to the show and a ride back home from the show. Hugely grateful. Lancaster was a lot of fun. It's funny. I did a podcast that with Baca and the crew. And one of the questions they asked me is like, why are you doing a show in Lancaster, man? Like, that place is the worst. And the place we were doing this show at, when we checked on Yelp at like 1 star, and it's like, be careful, it's dangerous. I was like, I just want to know how the tater skins are. But they were like, don't go there at night, be careful, watch your car. I was like, what's going on, man? Can I get a review of the pizza? But it was kind of a weird thing, because, you get this, Baca, and he's from the Bronx, bro. He's from New York, so for, he knows hood. So for him to go, watch that Lancaster. I was like, oh no. But we got out there safely. Had a great conversation on the way down about comedy and life and scenarios, and it was really nice to kind of chat with somebody on the ride. And then we got there and we got to Lancaster early, went to another place that had a little bit of a better Yelp review. And I had some pizza, had a glass of wine. It was very nice. They met some people at the bar, shook hands, talked, and, it was very, very nice. Everybody seemed very, very friendly and cool. Went to the show. Show went very well. Good people at the show. I would give myself like a 78 or 80 out of 100. Some of the jokes get a little blendy and flickety. I think it was just travel time and just, I don't know, whatever. But, some jokes worked, some jokes didn't. But did a nice 15-minute set, 16-minute set. So it was nice. Did a nice long set or longer set. And got to see, what the crowd was like, what the people were like. And it wasn't that bad, man. I really enjoyed it. Shout out to Lancaster. Shout out to JH Comedy for hooking it up. And yeah, it was really fun. Another great comedian, Stephen Briggs, who crushed it, like a 30-minute set. He's half white, half Puerto Rican. I was like, fellow Puerto Rican, Puerto Rico. So it was kind of cool. Excuse me. And it was fun to kind of like, meet new comics, see sort of like what worked and just the level of energy and commitment. I think that has a huge factor when it comes to getting laughs. But yeah, Lancaster was fun. I had a really good time. I got to, just experience a whole new place doing comedy. And I would do it again, to be honest with you, and our car didn't get stolen. So, and so I would say it wasn't as bad as I was presupposed, such as most things in life, But, got back and got in my apartment, and that was the last I've been out. I've just been stuck in my general neighborhood, unable to go anywhere until I can get my car keys back, or a new set of car keys. One of the things that's cool is that my car keys were kind of bent and twisted in some kind of crazy way, so I couldn't even get in the trunk of my car. So it'll be nice to get a new set of keys where I'll be able to open the trunk. I got golf clubs in the trunk, so now I can become a professional golfer. I have another light kit in there, so it'll be good to get a new set of keys, be able to get some of the stuff that's been in my trunk for the last couple months that has not been able to get out of the trunk. So it's cool. But yeah, it's one of those things where I feel, who knows? I could have driven Erin's house, something would have happened in my car, or who knows the scenario. But staying grateful, staying blessed, feeling good in the neighborhood. But there was a couple shows and mics I wanted to do this week that I can't do. So it kind of sucks. But this Saturday, when I do get my car back, there's going to be a great show at Baja's Grill if you're in the LA area. 3250 Wilshire, killer lineup of comics, free show, cheap margaritas, early. It runs from 7 to 8:30, so you still have the whole Saturday to enjoy yourself. And yeah, if you can make it out, that'd be great. I mean, we always love the crowds. The crowds are usually pretty good, so it's good to have good energy for the comedians. And enjoy yourself some free comedy. So if you're in the area, Baja's Grill, 3250 Wilshire, 7 p.m. So I'm looking forward to that, getting the comedy kind of back in. It's weird, just doing a couple days off. I already feel that oh man, I want to move, I want to groove, I just can't, I just can't. I'm just stuck. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to sort of to get out again and do a show on Saturday. And then, this weekend I'm going to kind of finish up a couple things I've been working on. My book of poetry, inspirational poetry. I know that sounds funny, but, it's tough to to stay positive, out here in these streets. I think to be an effective comic for me, so much of it is, just being happy, being in good spirit, being full of some sense of, joy. And that's tough when, you got the bills piling up and scenarios like this, people passing away, fellow comics passing away, and there's a lot of Debbie Downers out there. And so I feel like one of the things to keep the fires burning and to keep the flames lit is to, stay positive, inspire yourself, get inspired by other things. And so, I do a little poetry now and then, for me, just to kind of, inspire myself and feel good about myself. And I just thought it'd be nice to share that. And so I'm going to finish that poetry book this week, and it should be published next week. I'm very excited about that. I will share more information as it comes. And I'm just looking forward to kind of, just having a little bit of a restart in certain degrees, new keys, new opportunities. One of the great opportunities, too, is I got picked to do a wild card slot at the World Series of Comedy in Las Vegas. The competition I went to in Arizona that didn't pan out, as it turns out, might have panned out. So in September, I got called to do a show in Vegas, which is very exciting. I'm going to try to make it out there. And I got a couple shows, coming up here and there as things are starting to progress. But, I find myself, there's a couple projects I just want to finish out. I have this show idea I want to do. I have the book idea I want to do. And so I just want to kind of get those out. So, losing the keys isn't the worst scenario because I'm kind of put in a position where I have to sort of, stay home and do something. But I lose my mind. I need to do something. But it's nice because now I get to work on those projects, finalize them, and have them out by next week. And so I'm looking forward to having some new projects to show, new content in the pipeline, Fast and the Furious outside, everything's illuminated. And so, we're progressing, we're doing what we can, trying to stay positive, trying to stay in good light, and, making our way, despite adversity, making our way. And so I recommend don't wear a hoodie with shallow pockets. Maybe even get a keychain to latch on to your Django jeans. But yeah, man, that is a deep fear. And this is the second time that's happened. That happened before, and we already used this magnet thing to get it out, but I threw that magnet thing out in the move. Silly me. I was like, I'll never use this again. And now here we are. I could definitely use that. But we carry on, we progress, we stay in the light. And so it's going to be nice next week, getting back in the groove of things because, this week was just, triumphing over challenges. And, we did the best we can. But got some laughs in East LA, got to do a great show in Lancaster, still healthy, still alive, still opportunities to grow and learn. And so we stay grateful. And please come out to the Baja's Grill, 3250 Wilshire. If you're on the area on Saturday, it's going to be amazing. 7 p.m., great lineup. If you're in the area, please come out. And that's about it. We're getting a little rambly, so I figure we'll call it there. But I wanted to check in, let everybody know how I was doing, let everybody know that you got to stay up, stay positive, be the light, and, let it choose you. Follow your dreams no matter what. Even when your keys disappear into an elevator shaft and you have nowhere to go. You follow your dreams, follow your heart, follow your spirit, and stay the course. Anyway, thank you so much for listening and for joining me. My name is Jason Delgado. This has been the ReUp, and we will see you on the next one.